Now remove the tinfoil hat.
Yeah, this Facebook video is blowing up. In 24 hours, this has gotten 1.3 million views. Candace Owens, let's see what she has to say about. Let's see what she has to say about Breonna Taylor.
All right, everybody.
Pervert.
Debate Rob, you scammer for weird.
All right, everybody. Time for your. It's 4 p.m. Time for me to do white supremacy as a black woman, so that all the racist people can feel comfortable about their racist opinions and point to me because I'm a black woman. Time to talk about how much I hate identity politics as a black woman, by the way. Have I mentioned that I'm a black woman? You can't criticize me. You must be racist if you do. I'm a black woman. Fucking hate her. I despise Candace Owens. It's just, yeah. Time for me to take advantage of Facebook's disgusting algorithm to spread more white supremacist agitprop.
Hello, hello. Time to have one of those little chats because it seems that the Black Lives Matter narrative is getting more and more ridiculous every single day. And here we have a stunning case, Breonna Taylor, where actually every single piece of information that was provided us through the media was an absolute lie.
Interesting take. I agree. It was an absolute lie because the cops originally tried to hide the truth and tried to make it seem like they arrested the boyfriend because the boyfriend was a drug dealer. False. They arrested the boyfriend because he shot at the cops and he was in custody. That was also false. So yeah, I guess Candace Owens is correct. Candace Hitler wasn't such a bad guy, Owens, or Candace Hitler just wanted to make Germany great. Owens is back at it again.
Just an absolute lie. Like, no, actually nothing that they told us about this case was true. If you have been following this case from the beginning, we have been told that Breonna was an EMT who was living life the right way. The police officers showed up accidentally to the wrong door and shot.
Stop the lies. You're the one who just stated the situation happened to any other person of color. Any other person of another color, this would blow up. Literally, you said if Taylor was white, it would be different than you just said this. Stop the racist cop-out bullshit and be real, Azan. It's so sad and so pathetic that you feel so fucking insignificant and so called out. Because you know I'm correct. You only give a fuck about white people being killed in the hands of the police as a talking point. That's how little you give a fuck about white people being killed in the hands of the police. Because some white people might die in the hands of the police, but ultimately they protect you. They are the line of defense against you and the black men and women that you are terrified of. Get the fuck out of here, idiot. Thank you for your donations, though.
Shot her while she was asleep. All of it, a lie. Not even one part of it's true. Not one piece of that was true. First and foremost, Breonna Taylor was not an EMT. She had been in the past, but she had to step away from being an EMT because a car that she had rented all the way back in 2016 was involved in a homicide that was being investigated. A homicide which involved her boyfriend, the one that was a drug dealer, her ex-boyfriend at the time that she has been killed, Jamarcus Glover. This is all about a very intricate drug ring that the police officers had been following for years in this town, that Breonna Taylor was.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh, this is so bad, dude. This is worse than I thought. I didn't think that you could, like, yeah, I didn't think that someone could be this much. Like, someone could be this much of a fucking clown. I didn't think that you could literally look at someone who is an EMT, who was studying to become a nurse, and who got killed in her own fucking apartment by cops, by like psycho cops that were ready to fucking shoot on a whim. And even then you can criticize the victim, but here she is doing that exact same thing. This is like, I mean, this is like George Floyd to Electric Boogaloo, isn't this victim blaming? It's worse. I don't even know what this is anymore. EMTs can't be drug dealers. She's not a drug dealer. She was never a drug dealer. Why do you think she was a drug dealer? She has never been a drug dealer. This is why this shit makes me so angry, because look, racism is like having a puzzle piece that you add in to every fucking puzzle. You have an interchangeable puzzle piece in the back of your head, and whenever there is no evidence of the matter, you just fucking slam that racism puzzle piece in there. Black person, well, she must be a drug dealer. Boom. She's not. She's not a drug dealer. She's never been a fucking drug dealer. You have no evidence to that narrative, but you are motivated to think that she must be, because the cops killed her. She deserved to die because the cops killed her. And she's black, so she must be a drug dealer. She's not. It is completely fucking insane. Even if she was a fucking drug dealer, it doesn't matter. This is not how anything works. Like, you don't just fucking walk into someone's house and like taxi driver them because they're dealing drugs. It doesn't work that way. Why do we have a justice system? Why do we have courts? If we're just fucking pulling Duterte in America, where cops are just death squads, killing everybody that they think are drug dealers. And she's not, regardless. And you, if you think that, are a racist. You are a racist person, and you are fitting that narrative. Like, you're literally just throwing in that puzzle piece in there. You're slamming it in the absence of all evidence. All evidence pointing to the opposite. You still think that she was a drug dealer.
Unfortunately, at the center of. Now, I'm going to say a sentence that nobody is going to care about, because the media, when you tell the truth, always ignores this sentence. Breonna.
As far as the car being involved in a homicide case or some shit, the rental car that was in her name. Okay. I'm confused. Does any of this warrant? First of all, that has nothing to do with the investigation. Her house has nothing to do with the investigation. We know for a fact that her house did not even receive any drug packages, and that information was faulty. There wasn't even enough information that would warrant a no-knock raid, but the court signed away on it anyway. And we have the benefit of hindsight in this circumstance regardless. So why are you still lying? Like, why are you still, like, we know what the truth is, and you're still operating on, like, complete false narratives. It's disgusting to do this specifically as a black woman to cover up the actions of a police force that took the life of an innocent black woman. And you're using your black womanhood to make other white supremacists and race people feel better about their racist opinions. It's disgusting. I think no amount of money in the world is worth being this horrible of a human being. Not even a human being. Like, just at that point, I don't know what the fuck you are. You're not a human being, though. Like, it's so vile. It's so scummy. Maniacal levels of grifting. Oh my fucking God.
Breonna Taylor did not deserve to die. It's common sense. She was mixed up with the wrong.
And also, she's a gigantic pussy, too, on top of that. Did this exact same shit with George Floyd. Turned around and said George Floyd did not deserve to die, but also he was no hero. I'm not saying he deserved to get choked for 9 minutes and die, but also he wasn't a hero and he was a piece of shit, and, like, it was kind of good that he died, but he wasn't. I'm not saying that it was good. Like, this is exactly what she does every fucking time. Because she's a fucking pussy, too, on top of it. Just say it.
Wrong people. It's unfortunate that she's dead. You know, this is one of those instances when you're growing up and your parents tell you not to hang out with the wrong people because you can end up in the wrong circumstances and you can get yourself into trouble. This is something that we learn when we're children. When you become...
Yeah. It's unfortunate that Breonna Taylor's ex-boyfriend might have sold drugs, even though he didn't live in that house, even though he never actually conclusively picked up drugs from that house at all, even though Breonna Taylor had no opinion on this or no knowledge of this whatsoever, according to her family at the very least. All of that is just unfortunate. Why are you saying all of this if it's not to just justify the actions of the police? You are literally doing that. Is the argument here that, like, if you have dated someone that you might not have even known as a drug dealer, if you've dated someone who may or may not have been a drug dealer at some point, even years after the fact, even if you're moved on, and even if you're fucking dating someone else, you still deserve to get killed in your house? What a psychotic, insane fucking take. What if Candace Owens dated someone who's also committed a crime? Can cops walk into her apartment now that she's married to a military member and a Republican and is still an esteemed white supremacist mouthpiece? What if someone walked into her house and fucking clapped her? Is that okay? Are people going to turn around and be like, well, it was justified because she dated someone who, I don't know, did a felony assault 4 years ago? This doesn't track with anyone with more than 3 fucking brain cells. That's why I'm saying you have a puzzle piece in the back of your mind that you're ready to fucking slam on every single instance. Every single fucking instance. Okay? Because this makes no sense whatsoever unless you are motivated to believe that Breonna Taylor deserved to die in some capacity and you're too much of a pussy to admit it.
Become a teenager, when your parents are trying to guide you and make sure that you don't hang out with the wrong people or fall into the wrong crowd, as we like to say. But for whatever reason, this is no longer being held as a norm for Black America. It doesn't matter if we're
It's of course hilarious that a person who literally successfully sued her school board or board of education back in Connecticut for hate crimes that she experienced that caused her to have anorexia, who hated Donald Trump, to turn heel and become the biggest pro-Trump and biggest white supremacist mouthpiece. It's all about the money, baby. That's it, okay? She is a gigantic grifter. And if you believe her, you're a fucking idiot. Either you're an idiot or you're so goddamn racist that you're horny for a black person to also share the exact same racist opinions that you do. All right? Complete fucking grifter.
Hanging in the wrong crowd doesn't matter if we're actively helping our boyfriends move drugs, which is what Breonna Taylor was actually doing, okay? This is the truth. You can head and you can read all of the police investigations.
Breonna Taylor was never, this is false. Complete fucking falsehoods. Now she's just basically, I mean, not basically, she's just lying. Breonna Taylor did not help her boyfriend move drugs. This is not true. This is complete falsehood.
Reports, doesn't matter that the police had an actual warrant to be at her place, that they had been trailing her, that her name was on the warrant when they showed up at her place. It was not the wrong address. Everything the media told you was a lie.
By the way, just for the record, you know how she said Breonna Taylor wasn't an EMT anymore? That's also not true. I hope you know that, because Breonna Taylor was literally working and had just got done with a 4 overnight shift at the hospital where she worked as an emergency room technician the night that she died. Okay? So every part of what she has said about Breonna Taylor is a lie. Every part. Here. Breonna Taylor had just done 4 overnight shifts at the hospital where she worked as an emergency room technician. Okay? Pathetic. Absolute fucking pathetic, dude. It's so disgusting.
The police officers had every right to be at her property. They had been monitoring that property for weeks. They had a poll camera watching every single thing that group of people did because they were involved in meth, crack cocaine. They were moving drugs, and Jamarcus Glover was the person who was at the center of it. Okay? That's the truth. You were told that the police officer shot her while she was asleep. No, she was standing in a hallway, right? You were told that she had nothing to do with anything and it was all an accident. It was not an accident, okay? She was knee deep in drugs.
Dude, what are you saying, dude? What are you saying? This is so insane. Okay. Listen. Like, I don't know how to counter this because it's just, she's just lying. Like, I have never seen this level of propaganda to this magnitude. Like, she's lied about literally everything while simultaneously claiming that the other side is lying about the details. So I don't know if they could sue her for slander. I don't know if the family could, but this has 1.3 million fucking views in 19 hours, chat. So if you think I'm platforming this filth, it's the opposite. This is a video that you have to talk about. Here is the here is the here is the 4-page incident report on Breonna Taylor, by the way. Her injuries Taylor Breonna Shaquille, victim of crime 1, nothing. Victim, like, no additional details. Injuries, none. She had 6 bullets in her body. Injuries, none. Forced entry, no. They blew the door off its fucking hinges. Let's keep going.
You can actually log on and read the transcripts from when her ex-boyfriend, Jamarcus Glover, got arrested back in 2018. They actually recorded their jail conversations between her and the entire network of the people that were moving drugs through the neighborhood.
She was dating this person that she had broken up with already and cut ties. What is this take? I do not understand what this take is. The conversations that they had were that he said he loved her. She was living with someone else. If you have dated someone who was a drug dealer who went to jail, does that mean that, like, if you break up with them, you're still forever responsible and you can be killed on a moment's notice? What is this fucking take? What is this psychotic take? Where are the tapes? I would love for her to reveal the tapes. I know what they said. I'm looking at it right now. Although Ms. Taylor had no criminal record and was never the target of an inquiry, Mr. Glover's frequent run-ins with the police entangled her. She had been interviewed in a murder inquiry and paid or arranged bail for him or his associates when they were dating. When Mr. Glover called him from jail after an earlier arrest in January, she told him that his brushes with the law worried her. According to a recording, each said, "I love you," before hanging up. A GPS tracker the police placed on his car later showed him making regular trips to her apartment complex, and surveillance photos showed her outside a drug house. In a series of calls hours after her death, as Mr. Glover tried to make bail, he told another woman that he had left about $14,000 with Miss Taylor. Bree had been having all my money, he claimed, the same afternoon. He also told an associate he had left money at Miss Taylor's home. Mr. Agar, the lawyer for her family, said that no drugs or cash were found at her apartment after the raid. I wonder why. I wonder why no drugs or cash were found at her apartment after the fucking raid. Wow. Well, if you live in a fucking low-income neighborhood and your neighbors might be fucking dealing drugs, don't go near that house, because if you get clapped, they will use your vicinity, your proximity, as a reason, even if you have literally no evidence whatsoever. With 3 investigations underway, including a federal civil rights inquiry, a full public accounting of the botched raid is not yet possible. The city on the defensive has withheld some of the most basic information about the case, roiling public anger, even as new details of her ties to the drug dealer have emerged, including the jailhouse recordings first reported by the Louisville Courier-Journal. City officials have made a point of not excusing the outcome of the raid. Miss Taylor's family turned to her after this, said the relationship with Mr. Glover has to be acknowledged. You can't just look away from it and act like it's not there. He said, "My hope is courageous people will say, there it is. It is what it is, but was that shooting justified? She should be alive today." The federal case is going to clap the department 100%. I don't know. I hope so. We shall see. The Courier-Journal has exhaustively covered all aspects of the fatal March 13th shooting of Breonna Taylor. As the investigation of their conduct continues, this story examines the documents and other evidence we obtained that helps why LMPD pursued the no-knock search warrant and why they were there that night. It does not justify the shooting, that provides more insight into the highly controversial case that had captured the nation's interest. An earlier version of the story published prematurely Tuesday morning before final edits were made. We apologize for that misstep. They went into her house for all of the reasons that we have talked about a million times over. Because her fucking ex-boyfriend had gone into her house. Even though there were no packages that actually were intercepted that were clearly drugs or anything like that. They were like, they might be drugs. Her boyfriend went into the house. They thought she was alone. They didn't even know she had a different boyfriend. They didn't even know she had a new boyfriend. They thought she was alone in the house. Because she had an ex-boyfriend who sold drugs. I don't want to look at the crime scene photos, but... By the way, Glover was arrested. That's the other part. Oh, I always forget to mention this part. Glover was literally arrested that night. So they arrested the drug dealer. No, before. He was picked up in an alleged drug house 10 miles to the north of Louisville's West End. He was released on bail, but is now a fugitive after failing to post new bail set $50,000 when he was charged again last month. It provides no explanations or evidence aimed at justifying the shooting that has sparked but the 39-page report and corroborating evidence do show that Taylor had more extensive ties than previously made public with an accused drug trafficker who was at the center of a larger narcotics investigation in Louisville. It is not known if details included in the report were presented to the judge who signed the controversial no-knock warrant on Taylor's apartment. The findings on the report, corroborated by jail phone recordings at the Other documents obtained by the Courier Journal detail multiple links between Taylor and Jamarcus Glover of Louisville, a main target in the drug probe that prompted the police to request a search warrant of Taylor's apartment. Plainclothes officers that night battered in her door searching for drugs and illicit cash. None were found. LMPD report details Breonna Taylor's ties to alleged... Oh, this has more information on it? Okay. I have to pee so bad, but I can't stop. Her boyfriend also was in charge. So 4 men shoot at each other. A woman dies and no one committed a crime. No, there was someone who committed a crime. There was property damage. Wanted endangerment, my friend. I'm sorry. Did you not notice that drywall was impacted as a consequence of the police-involved shooting, where someone mysteriously withered away because they happened to be in the vicinity of bullets traveling through space and time on their own? But there was property damage, so there is wanted endangerment. So 1 person did get indicted. All lives matter. Yeah. I love this, dude. I love this because, again, it's like if you dated a drug dealer and you moved on. Like, if you dated a drug dealer, he goes to jail, you move on with your life. You have a new boyfriend. You're an EMT regardless. Okay? Like, across the board, they will still turn around and be like, it doesn't matter. You weren't actually an EMT. We're going to lie about that. Even if you were literally coming off of 4 nights, like a 4 night shifts in a row, we'll still lie and say you weren't a fucking EMT. How insane is that? Are you arguing from a moderate perspective on purpose, since selling drugs shouldn't even be illegal? Oh, dude, we're not even getting into that, but yes. This is a consequence of the war on drugs that also subjugates black people into the conditions that they're in currently, that forces them into living in the socioeconomic conditions that they're in currently. So there's also that part of it as well. Let's keep going.
Okay. He was asking her to do things in his place. She was involved, and she was also made it very clear that she was worried because she loved him so much that he was going to end up in serious trouble one day. Unfortunately, she didn't worry enough about herself and what trouble she was going to be in one day. This is a case that comes down to personal responsibility. Of course, the most important part about this case, which no one is talking about, is that they fired first. They shot a police officer, and I shouldn't say they, I should say the guy that she was with at the time, Kenneth Walker, fired and shot a police officer before hiding behind her and running to the back of the house. And she then took all of the bullets from the returning bullets from the police officer as they were standing in a hallway side by side next to each other. So
I thought Americans had a right to self-defense. I thought Candace Owens was a right-winger. I thought she loved Americans arming themselves. If you can't defend yourself from people who are fucking storming into your house in the middle of the night, okay, according to the overwhelming, nearly every single witness, storming into the house and shooting, okay, with the exception of one witness who said they heard knocks beforehand, and they might have said that they were cops. What are you supposed to do in that situation? It's insane.
the police come, they knock on the door. Okay. And they say police. Why do we know that's true? Because Kenneth Walker himself verified that him and Breonna Taylor heard the knock at the door, and the neighbors came outside to speak to the police officers.
Not true. This is literal. This is a lie. This is another lie. If Kenneth Walker knew it was cops, then why did he call 911 and said they're breaking into my house? and they shot my girlfriend. Why didn't he say they're cops? Why did every single neighbor, literally, other neighbors called 911? Why did they call 911? I love that she's like, everyone in the media is lying, and then proceeds to lie about the fucking case completely. Kenneth Walker literally thought, according to his testimony, that this was Breonna Taylor's potential ex, the drug dealer one, that was coming back into the house with guns. And that's why he shot one fucking round into the ground. And I think the according to the theory at the moment, it ricocheted into the person's leg. Doesn't even matter. Even if he fucking shot him point blank, even if he shot the cop point blank, it doesn't change anything. He heard banging on the door, and then the door broke down. It's insane. And to the people who are complaining, oh my God, Hassan, you're fucking covering this video point by point. The lies per capita in this fucking video, the lies per second of this video is so high that of course I have to fucking stop every single moment and like talk about it and then continue.
The neighbors have verified that the police officer said it's the police.
No. 11 neighbors said that they only fucking heard banging and gunshots. Only one said he heard potentially that it was the police. One neighbor out of 12. Why? Why are you saying this? That's all it takes? Why is it that we are avoiding 11 fucking people?
Okay? Now, you hear people who have white guilt, and people, doesn't matter. How do they know it was the police? I don't know.
It doesn't matter. Also, even if the fucking neighbors heard it. What is the argument here? Is the argument that, like, he knew cops were coming and he wanted to get a kill? Like, what is the argument here? That Breonna Taylor's, like, boyfriend was ready to fucking execute a cop and he heard that they were cops, so he was like, yeah, I'm gonna go kill a cop now. Like, is that what the argument is? Is that what people believe is happening here? And then he had the wherewithal to fucking call 911 and be like, he knew that he killed a cop, but he was still like lying and saying like they're breaking into my home and they killed my girlfriend. Are all the neighbors in on it too? With the exception of one brave neighbor? Insane.
Oh, shoot first and ask questions later. I wouldn't know it was the police if you knocked and said the police. Okay, would you grab your gun and fire at them? Wouldn't you look out the window, check the peephole to see what's going on before the...
No, because the door was fucking knocked in. Because the door was slammed in. And they're plainclothes officers. Why? What the fuck are you supposed to do in that circumstance? Why has she not mentioned that they were in plainclothes? Why has she not mentioned that the overwhelming majority, nearly every single fucking witness, said that they didn't know that there were cops and executing a no-knock warrant? Why was there a warrant for a no-knock warrant, but then the cops changed their fucking attitude really quickly and said they actually did knock on a no-knock warrant? That's so weird. Why is it that they had a no-knock warrant, but cops didn't fucking fully abide by that and actually did knock?
Police officers barge into your house, which they have a right to do because they have a warrant on them. Do you understand that Breonna Taylor is dead? That is sad. It is the fault of Kenneth Walker for firing at a...
Why were no-knock warrants outlawed immediately after under the Breonna Act? Why did they do that if it wasn't a no-knock warrant, if it was actually, if there was knocking there?
police officer. Black Lives Matter started at the principle that unarmed Black Americans were being shot and killed for no reason by police officers. We have now dramatically shifted the narrative to Black Lives Matter, which means even when a Black American is armed, shoots a police officer, the police officer has a warrant to arrest and to inspect that property and take drugs, still
no drugs were found on the property. No cash was found on the property. Won't hear Candace Owens mention that, though.
Black American is somehow a victim. That is pointedly ridiculous. And let me also tell you something else. It is the bigotry of low expectations. Stop believing. If you are a white person, you've been defending this and you've been wearing a Breonna Taylor t-shirt and you've been demanding justice for Breonna, then you should be demanding that her boyfriend serves time in prison for firing at a police officer. You should not be demanding a police officer's figurative head on a stick. Okay? These are the people that protect and serve the community. You keep saying Black Lives Matter. Did any of the Black lives that were having crack cocaine moved into their neighborhood by this whole organization of criminals?
There is no evidence that Breonna Taylor is a part of this organization. She's just completely running along with the narrative that like Breonna Taylor's a massive drug dealer. Also, I love that when she was saying crack cocaine being moved in the neighborhoods, she almost said Ronald Reagan or CIA, but then was like, by these drug dealers that are not a part of the CIA, nor Ronald Reagan had anything to do with it. I think that they were just, Black people just found it on their own and started selling it.
At all? Did you know maybe somebody overdosed on the drugs that this group was selling? Did that matter to you at all? Like, did any of that, the Black lives only matter when the narrative that you hope, that you wake up every day and you hope that you're going to see is that police officers are killing Black people for no reason? This case is an unfortunate one. It is not a case of police brutality. It is not a case that has anything to do with race, okay? You could have put a white person, you could have put a meth lab in there. If police went to serve a warrant and it was a bunch of...
Yeah, you could have put a meth lab in there and a white person in there. And in that situation, there would at least be a little bit more of a reason for the cops to fucking kill someone in that situation if there was a back and forth shootout inside of a fucking meth lab. But that's not what happened.
White kids selling meth and they knocked on the door and the meth kids shot at them. The police would have...
Yeah, in this completely different scenario where meth dealers are having a shootout with the police, it would be justifiable to some degree. But that's not what happened. Why are you changing the fucking outcome in its entirety? Why are you changing the situation? Yeah, what if they were actually white kids who also had a tactical nuke and they were threatening to kill everyone in the city with that tactical nuke? In that situation, is it still not appropriate for the cops to kill? Like, yeah, let's just fucking totally just fuck the goalpost, dude. Shoot the goalpost in a cannon towards the fucking sun. Just change the dynamic, change the situation in its entirety, and then I'm right.
Shot back. It's called protecting your life because police officers have families to go home to. What more do you want police officers to do? They investigated. They had a warrant. They were at the right residence. Breonna Taylor's name was on the warrant. Jamarcus Glover's name was on the warrant.
Cops historically and notoriously never operate on shitty evidence or even in some instances false evidence. Okay? They never do that. No-knock raids are not notorious for getting the wrong people killed. So I'm glad that Candace Owens is talking about this right now. Okay? I'm being sarcastic. Everything I said is the exact opposite. Okay? No-knock raids are literally deadly and oftentimes kill the wrong fucking people. And they did in this situation as well, which is a situation that she's trying to justify by saying, well, they had a warrant. So, yeah. If you see that they had a warrant and you know with the benefit of hindsight that it was wrong, that it was her boyfriend wasn't even fucking living with Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor had a different boyfriend. Okay? If you know all of this, if you know that the cops raided the apartment and did not find drugs or money or cash in the apartment, and if they didn't have enough evidence then why are you not criticizing the judge that signed off on the warrant? Why are you not criticizing the cops that were gung-ho about fucking executing a no-knock warrant in the aftermath of a person being killed, an innocent person being killed? Like, this makes no fucking sense. Also, that warrant doesn't give you the right to execute someone.
They did everything the right way. They went to the court, got the warrant, knocked on the door, and announced themselves, even though they didn't have to. They could have no-knocked it. They could have barged on the door and gone in the way that the FBI raided Roger Stone's house. Okay? Did Roger Stone, by the way, shoot FBI raid officers when they swarmed his household? Did he go, oh, well, I didn't know who it was, so I just shot first and asked questions later? No, he didn't do that. He didn't do that. So it is entirely possible that when police officers knock to serve your warrant and bang down your door, that you don't shoot at a police officer.
Texas grand jury declines to indict pot grower who shot and killed a cop during an early morning raid. This week, a Texas grand jury declined to indict a marijuana grower for shooting and killing a sheriff's deputy who burst into his home in the early morning to execute a search warrant. Henry Goodrich McGee, who was indicted on drug and weapon charges, the latter only because he was growing marijuana, said he believed Burleson County Sergeant Adam Soders was a burglar. This was a terrible tragedy that the deputy sheriff was killed, but Hank McGee believed that he and his pregnant girlfriend were being robbed. McGee's lawyer, Dick DeGuerin, told AP he did what a lot of people would have done. He defended himself and his girlfriend and his home. Remember, in the Amber Geiger trial, Amber Geiger was an off-duty cop who broke into Botham Jean's apartment and shot and killed him. What did the NRA say after that? They said Botham Jean would be alive right now. Botham Jean was black. Amber Geiger was a white lady. The NRA said Botham Jean would be alive right now if he had a gun. He should have had a gun, so he should have, and he should have shot Amber Geiger in self-defense. He had every right to do so. All of a sudden, we have an instance where a black person is actually shooting back in self-defense. His girlfriend gets killed, and those very same Republicans are turning around and very quickly saying, fuck that. She's actually a criminal who deserves to die. Very interesting. Very interesting. So I guess it's okay when a white person does it, like literally.
And then hide behind your girlfriend and allow her to take the bullets. Why are we not having that conversation about personal responsibility?
What?
Oh, I know, because we always have to.
What about the personal responsibility of the police? What the fuck? They are the ones with the knowledge. They are the ones who are executing a fucking warrant on faulty information. They are the ones who killed someone. How is this the fucking boyfriend's fault? Dude, this is so bad. Again, if you can believe this, you are so motivated to believe this. You are so motivated that like you're horny for any sort of justification, specifically from a black woman too. Oh God.
To infantilize Black America. So this is no longer, movement is no longer about saving Black lives. No, it's about treating Black people like toddlers. It's no longer about equality. It's about exceptions. It's no longer about equality. It's about entitlements, right? You want Black people to be entitled to things that no one else in America are going to be entitled about. That's what Black Lives Matter activists are about, right? Beyonce, I want justice for Breonna Taylor. I called the attorney general and told him I want justice.
Right.
Oh, because you're saying single ladies, you can make a phone call and tell them not to do their job, and you want to make sure police officers serve time for what? For defending their lives when they're fired at? What is wrong with you guys? What kind of a world do we live in when we can no longer distinguish between right and wrong? Do you realize how scary that is? That we have people that are actively defending criminals every single day. There has not been a single instance this year that Black Lives Matter has jumped on where the Black person was not involved in some level of criminality. Not George Floyd, who was on fentanyl, ingested fentanyl before his arrest, was obviously, if you have now read the labs, they are saying he died of a drug overdose and there was actually no injury sustained to his neck despite watching the case, right? A man that had methamphetamine and fentanyl and was trying to use counterfeit bills. Was he a pure victim? Absolutely not. Jacob Blake, he was a guy who had a warrant out for his arrest for digitally raping a Black woman and telling her that she smelled like she had been with someone else, right? According to the warrant for his arrest. Does anybody care about that black woman? No, because it's not about black lives, right? But Jacob Blake, God, he got shot in the back as he was going to grab a knife and was running from police officers. So who cares? He's a victim because he got killed by police officers. Rayshard Brooks physically beats police officers, grabs their taser and shoots at them in Atlanta. And oh my God, watch the city burn, because this guy, they should have just let him go. They should have just let Rayshard Brooks leave with the taser.
Okay, I see that now we're doing the highlights of like every other instance of police brutality and how this is now the highlight reel of racial agitprop, where Candace is going after every single notable instance or every single high profile case of police brutality and extrajudicious killings of African Americans, where I guess her argument is what, like to kill every black person that cops engage with or something. I'm having a really hard time. Racism, any percentage speedrun, yeah, really good. Rewatch what you just missed. Every crime is worthy of capital punishment. The cop is having a bad day. So the digital penetration argument and stuff like that. Here's the thing that Candace Owens weirdly does not comprehend, even though she is a black woman herself. I don't know how she has. I guess she's deaf to all of the cries from black women that also protest police brutality. But you know, the money bags are preventing her from seeing that, I guess. She's trying to normalize police brutality. Yeah, we need to normalize police brutality, sweaty. So here's the thing. Digital penetration means finger penetration. She's like, nobody cares about the black victims in that circumstance is insane, because in a lot of those circumstances, the female black victims of digital penetration in that circumstance would still be against police brutality, because they understand that it's not like the fucking cops are going to save them. And those very same cops are still likely to kill their black sons and daughters in a similar situation. Digital penetration is finger rape. That's what that is. Anyway,
because it doesn't really matter. They could have gotten him later, because the job of a police officer is to make sure that the black man gets away safely with a weapon and is allowed into a neighborhood. Not that the black man should be apprehended immediately because he's a risk to the rest of the community. A job for a police officer is to protect and serve the community, not to protect and serve the criminals. Yes, it would be nice if criminals didn't.
I mean, but they didn't. They literally, she wasn't a criminal, and the cops literally didn't protect and serve the community in that instance. They killed Breonna Taylor. That's not very good protection, my guy. What are you trying to say?
Fight back when they were being apprehended.
And like, apprehension does not mean shooting someone. I'm also confused by that. Like, you don't protect and serve the community by literally going gung-ho ape shit on people and like fucking unloading your weapon, unloading your service weapon on someone. That's not protecting and serving anybody's community, especially considering the fact that the people in that community seem to not feel like they're being protected and served by the law enforcement officers, and that's why they are protesting against police brutality, because they are not safe. They don't feel safe. They want to feel safe. They want to make sure that cops have some accountability, so that they actually do the job that they are supposed to do, which is protect and serve that community, but they don't.
It would be nice. In a perfect world, all of these warrants and all of these arrests would go off without a hitch, right? But a level of that taking place, if we actually want to aspire to that perfect arrest scenario, then it takes two to tango. You have to listen to instructions from police officers. Is this the result of the black community having such a high rate of father absences? I'm just trying.
Yikes, dude. Yo. Look, I'm not black, so if I were to say things that I truly feel about Candace Owens right now, I would get banned, understandably, because without proper context of like what I represent or what I believe, you would 100% think I'm a racist person for things that I think about Candace Owens, okay? I'll just be honest. She is worse than Jesse Lee Peterson. Like, just absolutely worse than Jesse Lee Peterson. She's not a political puppet. Like, you get bans anyway. If you're black, see what happened to the people that got black. Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. This is like the shit that she's saying now is like, oh, what about them blacks? I mean, this is literally just like, come on, us blacks are real violent, right? Come on. We don't got no fathers. Like, that's literally what she's doing. I mean, this is like, poof. Holy shit, dude. Holy fucking shit. Close your eyes. Close your fucking eyes and imagine a white person saying exactly what Candace Owens is saying. There you go. You have your fucking answer. She is. You Clayton Bigsby, Uncle Ruckus on fucking steroids. Auntie Ruckus on fucking steroids.
To understand, I can't wrap my head around not listening to instructions and not listening to authority and running away and beating and trying to hit a police officer. It boggles my mind. Like, are we just not being raised to think that we have to listen to any rules? And is that breakdown of family also transpiring because we have a culture of celebrities like LeBron James who are pretending that these people are all victims and innocent, and people like Beyonce writing letters to a...
The only reason why this fucking psycho gets away with this kind of white supremacist racial agitation is because so many people are so fucking racist on both sides of the political spectrum that they're fearful of pushing back against this nonsense because she is fucking black. And her words mean more because she's fucking black. That's it. She is literally using identity politics as a fucking shield. Right-wingers do this all day, every goddamn day. Okay? And that's precisely what she's doing. It's God,
attorney generals who will not acknowledge that we are playing a role in this. Philando Castile in 2016 was an honest-to-God victim. We all remember watching that tape. It was sad. It was devastating. The police officer thought he was going to pull for a gun when in reality he was pulling for his wallet. That is an example of a very sad case, an example of a true victim. I have not seen any cases this year that Black Lives Matter has presented where I cannot pinpoint the exact thing that the person did that was wrong. Breonna Taylor was a victim of her own bad choices and circumstances, okay? She was a victim of her boyfriend and her boyfriend's bad choices and circumstances. This is what happens when you hang out with drug dealers, people that have guns on them, people that their instinct is to shoot first. This is what happens, okay? So spare me your white guilt. Do me a favor and spare me your white guilt. If you are a black...
I don't have any white guilt, and none of you should in this circumstance either. Okay? This isn't white guilt. This is wanting justice. This is wanting accountability so that cops can't fucking kill people, and white people as well, by the way. Okay? Because racist assholes will be the first to point out that more white people get killed in the hands of the police than black people. Like that other dipshit was trying to fucking tell me to own me, as though I don't give a fuck when white people get killed or some shit. Candace Owens on, Philando Castile. The left launched a war on police officers to secure a black vote. Their media used the horrific death of Philando Castile to manipulate black
when
minds.
I remove myself from the emotional aspects, which, by the way, people ask
I've done a video debunking this.
me the question, how can you say it was okay that Philando Castile died and was shot by a police officer? I would never say that it was okay that Philando Castile died. I would never deny a horrific event.
This was years ago. This is in 2018. This was back when she wasn't as mask off because she couldn't get away with it back then. Now, with 4 years of Donald Trump, you can have her say literally like Philando Castile actually was deserved. The Philando Castile murder was totally warranted or some shit. Now you can hear her say that. You are hearing her say that. This case is very similar.
I'm going to deny is your right to manipulate my emotions.
Yeah, she's just like, this is like early stage Candace. This is now you see new Candace.
Person, spare me your Black Lives Matter mantra and think for a second about the society that you are helping to create and build right now. If you are an American, have some decency to start defending our police officers and our law enforcement officers who get up every day and suit up and do the right thing by trying to remove criminals from the street.
It's funny people say, Pepele, when you called her Auntie Ruckus, like you weren't in a World Star video for saying it about JLP. I did. I called Jesse Lee Peterson Uncle Ruckus on his show. It is remarkable that people like this exist. Like I literally thought that they were cartoons. You know what I mean? I thought that they only existed in cartoons, and they're not. They're in real life. They are making money. They call you woke bay amazing. I mean, maybe they'll cancel me for saying she is Auntie Ruckus, but she is. I fucking doubt that they will, but
This poor police officer was shot at, and now he's going to have to watch all of Louisville burn because of a narrative that somehow it was unjust. When he got shot, it was unjust somehow because he's a police officer and was doing the right thing, that he's evil.
okay, I'm bored. This is boring. Someone